Hello everyone, this is going to be the first video of the series, Living with a Disability. This first video, I'm going to cover the disclaimers. Some of these topics will not be suitable for children because it's going to involve relationships, intimacy, adult topics that children that are not teenagers on up are not going to be able to comprehend and are going to be a little too advanced for them. Disclaimer number 2. I don't make any money off of this. This is not for monetary gain. This is to hopefully help somebody. Whether it be a parent, a person with a disability. This is solely me dissecting my day-to-day life to make it understandable for somebody else. Third, some of the topics will be sensitive. If you have a queasy stomach, stop watching. Because this is going to be real life stuff that has happened to me. This has happened to people I know that I've seen happen to others. This isn't going to be sugar-coated. This isn't going to be a TV program that's scripted. And last but not least for this video is the topic we're going to cover today. Childhood with a disability. The earliest memories I have of knowing there was something different, I was between kindergarten and first grade, learning to tie my shoes. I didn't know how to make my hand work. I could do it with my right hand, perfectly normal. But my left hand, I couldn't make it do what I needed it to do. I have left-sided hemiplegic cerebral palsy. I was born 2 months premature. I had had a stroke in utero, and the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, thus causing cerebral palsy. Once I learned how to tie my shoes, buttoning a shirt was extremely difficult. To this day, it can be difficult for me. I figured out a way to do it one-handed, but there's times where if the buttonholes are too small, that's almost unimaginable to do. But when I was in grade school, kids were extremely mean. I was pretty much a duck swimming in a circle. I couldn't run as fast as the other kids. I couldn't play sports with the other kids because when I was little, I had seizures. One hit could have caused a seizure. I couldn't play a musical instrument because of my hand. I tried numerous times to learn how to play guitar. As I got older, junior high, I wanted to start weightlifting. I was told you can't because of your hand. I was a freshman in high school. I started mowing yards. Started lifting weights in high school. I had a coach that was willing to help me. The hardest part for me in all this was not giving up. The only limits that, as a person with a disability, that you can let somebody set on you are the ones that you are willing to set for yourself to try to exceed. If you sit there and tell yourself, oh, I can't do that because I'm disabled, you're never going to do it. Plain and simple. My first car, I didn't think I could drive it. It didn't have power steering. It was a stick shift. I got thrown the keys and, well, you're going to learn how to drive a stick or you're not going to drive it. And you're going to build up that arm to be able to drive it or you're not going to drive it. That's pretty much what it was. I was an 18-year-old kid. I couldn't afford to go out and modify the truck to make it easier for me. I had to do it. But backtracking to 4th grade through 6th grade. Other kids would go out for recess. I would stay inside because I was getting bullied. And I just wanted left alone. I would read a book. Or I would do a menial task to keep me busy through the recess period. It got to the point I was in 5th and 6th grade. My parents would come and get me from the classroom after school instead of me going and waiting outside because I was getting bullied. I was called names such as cripple, retard, so many other vile names that I won't even repeat because they make me want to puke. 7th and 8th grade weren't much better. I was picked on. I finally, between 6th and 7th grade, found shoes that were comfortable. And part of my problem with the CP is my left leg is a little bit shorter than my right. So flat-soled shoes for me don't work. I figured out I could wear cowboy boots, and they were comfortable. I got picked on for wearing cowboy boots. I got picked on because I was tall and I was skinny. On top of getting picked on for having a bad hand. I've been asked if I could do things differently. Would I? I wouldn't do it one bit differently. I would make more effort to help people understand what the disability is and what causes it versus pulling a turtle and hiding inside a shell. You can't change what's been done to somebody, but you can change what is going to be done. Your actions dictate an outcome. If you pour a hot cup of coffee on your hand, your actions dictate you're going to burn your hand. If you make an effort to befriend somebody with a disability, those actions could dictate their whole day. You could make their day or make their week. I never had somebody that did that. Freshman year of high school, I started to get very depressed, very withdrawn. And that lasted up until I was in my early 20s. I was the odd one out. I didn't fit anywhere. I had a couple of shop teachers that would not give up on me. They wouldn't let me quit. And with that, I found a love for working with my hands, working on cars. My parents didn't try to limit me on it. They wanted me to be careful because if I got hurt, I wouldn't know it. Part of the cerebral palsy for me is a constant pins and needles feeling in my left hand. The easiest way to describe it is stick your hand in a freezer for an hour. I don't feel pain like a normal person. I've cut my hand and didn't realize it till there was blood running down my hand. And that leads me to another point of parents. Your kids need to fall to learn to get back up. But you also need to watch that if they don't feel pain like the average person, be there so when they do get hurt, they know they have support. I've lost count of how many times my mom bandaged me back up and sent me back out the door. But the hardest pill to swallow is being disabled. What many people don't realize is it is the most lonely feeling in the world. I remember most of the time when I was in school, there was maybe 10 disabled kids in the whole school. That was high school. That was a school of over 2,000 kids. 2 of which I went to school from 6th grade on up with. One of which was wheelchair bound, and then the rest were developmental. Some severe, some very slight. So there wasn't very many of us. I only went to 2 dances, I think, the entire time I was in high school. Because I got tired of being there alone. I got tired of trying to fit in where I didn't fit. As somebody with a disability, you question your worth. You question where you belong in the world. It's not a fun thing to get home from a dance and your parents ask how you went and you just go into your bedroom and cry. It's not a fun thing. I'm sure as a parent, it's not a fun thing to watch. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to be the one in that situation. I know when I was growing up, my parents saw more than a few heartbreaks watching me grow up. I'm to this day very self-conscious about my affected arm. A family member made a comment about my left arm being smaller when I was in junior high. For 5 or 6 years, I wouldn't wear anything but long sleeves no matter how hot it got outside. It could be 100 degrees out. I'd roll my sleeves up to my forearms and that was it. Because somebody made a comment. That one comment changed my entire perspective of how I looked at myself, of how I looked at others. I used to be very trusting in people. Not anymore. The hardest part for me is I had to learn how to love and I had to learn how to trust. If I didn't learn those, I wouldn't have who I have now. Some people see a disability as a curse. I don't. I think I was given this to be able to help somebody else. Whether it be them watching me struggle and get back up, or maybe me taking the extra 10 minutes to talk to them about it so they understand better what it actually is. I don't know. But this series of videos is going to cover, I would say, about once a week for 6 months and see where it goes from there. Next week, I'm going to cover getting through high school. Well, junior high, high school. And the week after that, I can't really cover college because I didn't go. But I can cover some of it with help of my fiance because she did go. And then going into the workforce, relationships, and so on and so forth. And that's just a tenuous game plan. If anybody has any questions or anything they want specifically covered, I'm not too old. I'm 26. So I'm still young yet. I'm still learning my way through the world, but I've been through enough of it to know how to navigate it with a disability. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything that they want covered, I'm open for ideas because I want to be able to help somebody else. Any rude comments, any belittling comments, any comments, oh, the disability's not that bad, keep them to yourself. You don't know what somebody's daily struggle is until you walk a mile in their shoes. Or if you really want a challenge, take one hand, tie it behind your back, and go through your day-to-day life. That's pretty much how my day goes. I have one good hand to work with. I can still use my affected hand, but it takes a lot more thought. It's extremely painful. So think about what you're going to post before you post it. I'm going to end every video with a simple summary. This video was just an intro. So I covered a lot of topics in fairly rapid succession. Right now the video's at 15 minutes. But life is what you make out of it. If you're breathing, you're alive. The rest is up to you.